And then people were like pissed at me for betraying Nick. I got called a fake friend because I was like, he needs to fix his life. He needs to.
I mean, you also did tell everyone that he was spending $20,000 a month on cocaine. You did say that he had an appetite for Jamaican hookers. You could say that these things are a joke, but you did give a lot of details out in the intervening days. There was a lot of details and a lot of stories originated from Camelot. So I don't know if that's a bad friend thing to do, or if he's just like seeing his stream numbers over the, whatever regular stuff. But yeah, there was a few things he said which didn't help the situation. And I assume he received a few shower calls, a few texts like that. I do think it's funny though that like Nick pisses in a cup for 60 days, and so by matter of law he gets his kids back, and then he starts sending out his emails to all his capos and is like, bros, you can be friends with me again, it's okay.
Accept accountability and fix his life. And then 2 streams later I was called a Baldo washer because I was like, Nick,
I mean, this stream is entitled like Nick won. I'm pretty sure that's Baldo washing. The case is still going on. The criminal stuff is all still there. It's not over. Nix has reduced his ongoing cases from, well, I guess allegedly from 4 to 3, but that's actually not even the case because we don't know the details of his release. There's some possibilities here. And you know what? We might do a little poll. This is the basic summary of the possibilities of what today's outcome means. Possibility number 1, Nick is telling the truth. Number 2, the grandparents took the drug recognition course and Nick is having supervised visitation at home, which means that Nick has just been downgraded to child, and the grandparents who have been looking after 5 kids now get to look after 8 kids because that includes Nick, Kayla, and April because she's still there. So let's see. This did actually come up. This actually was a point of contention in Nick's admit-deny hearing. They asked how could the grandparents recognize someone that's on the substances because they have never seen anyone using them before. Let's see. Option number 3, the grandparents moved in next door with the kids. I think we might leave that one out. There's actually because we've only got 4 options for these polls, but that's another alternative. You can post that if you think that in chat. But the grandparents moved in next door. Nick does have a secondary house, which is a short walk away. I believe it's separated by some trees, but it's the next property in the country. Option number 3, Nick and Kayla did 60 days of drug tests, so they got their kids back. And then option number 4, Nick is lying. Nick is lying. Now, I know it on good authority that Nick has never lied, and he never lies to his audience. There is an additional possibility is that, and this is like a bit of a crazy conspiracy, but I wouldn't put it past them. The other possibility is that they convinced April to take the fall. April's credit card was on the drugs, and she can probably get away with the lesser sentence. That means that they get to keep the kids, and she gets to do what the cult leader says and just take all the damages. That would be pretty crazy, but it is what it is. Sheriff of YouTube says, imagine owning 2 houses and becoming a YouTuber to pay your taxes. What a human failure. Yes, Nick's dad had to come to his house and yell at him to pay his taxes for his land property. And there you go. Let's continue with Camelot's retale of the events.
The best works out for him because people, I think, wanted him to die or wanted me to say I wanted him dead or something. I don't know. Right.
I mean, this is kind of wild though, because like a lot of people don't have an issue with the drugs and the degeneracy, provided it's done by just people having fun, not parents and not around their kids. And, that's fine. And that's all good and thing. But everybody has said, if the cocaine test with the kids is true, then they'll never associate with Nick again. They'll never want to have anything to do with him again. And he's a degenerate. He's a terrible person. He should go to hell. He should rot, right? While that result is insane still to this day, and we don't have any more information about it, I haven't seen anything that's disproven it yet. I haven't seen any explanation for it yet. If this drug test, like maybe they are able to get this hair test removed somehow, but that doesn't explain it. There is nothing on the table today that proves or shows in any way that Nick didn't do these things. All he said is, this test is impossible. I don't believe it. Okay, that's all he said so far. Now, from the beginning, I did say that this is so unlikely that surely they mixed up one of the girls' hairs. Like surely it was Kayla's hair or something. But if that was the case, why wouldn't that be said by now? Like, why wouldn't they just do the test again and say, oh, whoopsie daisies, this was the wrong test. We're not going to submit that in depth. Like, why isn't that in the record? Why hasn't Nick said that? This is still not being explained. And my personal theory for what is going on in Nick's head right now is he's praying, he's gambling, basically. He's gambling that everything's going to be thrown out of the warrant, and then everything else is going to be fruit of the fallen tree, and then it all gets removed from the case, and he gets away scot-free. Now, if that doesn't happen, he's going to take the plea. We haven't seen that if Nick has been offered a plea, but we know that Kayla has been offered one, so it's pretty likely that Nick has been offered one too. But I don't know. What do you think? But it is been pretty funny today, I think, for me. It's been pretty funny to see all the people coming out of the woodwork who were too cowardly to voice their opinion, and they're now coming out and they're saying, you know what? I was with Nick all along. Checkmate. I'm not grouping Camelot in that group, by the way, just to be clear. Camelot has been talking about Nick nonstop since this happened. But there is other people that have been coming out, and I find that pretty funny.
This gets us all the way to this point. So Nick got arrested in April. Ketamine. During this,
I believe it was like there was like 6 ketamine tablets. Sorry, I'm just typing something behind the scenes at the moment. I believe there was six ketamine tablets, 26 grams of coke. Then there was some mysterious brown substance that hasn't come back. And the testing on these things takes a long time, by the way. Nobody knows exactly what it is yet. You can make your guesses in chat, but like the process time for these stuffs takes a while because it's so backed up. So the state may not even know what it has just yet, which seems outrageous, right? But they tested positive for cocaine using field tests. But there you have it. There you have it.
Thing. No one really knows exactly what it's called, but
it's we know what's going on there. It was swinging, wife swapping. We know that. Nobody really says that's not the case. He knows for sure. He absolutely knows for sure. That's a bold-faced lie. But no, they were in a wife-swapping, swinging couple situation. Then they kicked out Aaron, and now it's a throuple. And I think Camelot goes on to say he doesn't like that word. I think throuple is a funny word. I don't have a problem with it. And it's still going on to this day. They brought their mistress to the hearing. She moved out with Aaron, divorced him, and now lives in Rekita's second home. And when he lives in the second home, that's her official address. But actually, she just lives in the big house with him. Nobody's pretending that she goes home at night to sleep separately, right? Polycule is like, well, polycule's for 4 people, right? Oh, well, at least I would think so. Poly just means many. But I believe that, so maybe you can put 3 people on that, but I think thruple's better for that.
That's kind of what's going on, She's still living with him. Yeah, I think so. I don't really know. I haven't talked about that with Nick. But I think that's the case.
I think they've talked about it. They did share a room together when they went to Anime Matsuri. They got the big swinging room, the big room with the stripper pole in the middle. So I think they've talked about this at least once.
Well, today he was awarded a huge W. And look, I get it, guys.
Huge W. Ring it up, Rekita W. I pissed in a cup for 60 days, and I got my kids back after 77 days. Big W. I mean, honestly, I mean, if my kids were taken away and I got them back, I would be very happy. But it's only happy because I've been deprived of them in the first place. Like, no matter how you look at it, the entire kid situation is still a big L. Even if Nick gets away with everything, he keeps getting away with it. He gets away with everything. Everything gets thrown out. Life goes back to normal. He's still, at the absolute minimum, a terrible father, someone that destroyed their home and reputation because of his actions, negligent father, swinging degenerate in which, you can be a swinging degenerate if you want, but you can't be a swinging degenerate if you proclaim the sanctity of marriage and monogamy and being with one person your only life, your whole life. He even lies about that, by the way. Like there is 2 streams where he said different opinions. He says like, me and my wife were virgins, we met, and we got married when we were 24. And then he says like, oh, I lost my virginity at 21 on my birthday when I Kayla. So